Come away, just for a while, from the sharp edges of the world you know. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let your breath grow slow. Tonight, there is no schedule to keep, no destination that matters more than this moment, right here, wrapped in warmth, wrapped in quiet. Imagine, if you will, a different kind of night. A night of dark mahogany and soft amber light. A night where rain falls gently over a city built on water, and a great train exhales, and begins, ever so slowly, to move. You are not required to do anything now but rest. Pull the blanket a little higher. Let your shoulders soften into the cushions beneath you. There is nowhere else you need to be. Somewhere far from here, Venice is fading into mist and rainlight. And somewhere very close, right here, in fact, you are perfectly safe, perfectly warm, cocooned in velvet and old world quiet. Let us begin. You are seated in a private cabin of dark, gleaming mahogany, the kind of wood that seems to hold 100 years of lamplight inside its grain. The seat beneath you is deep and generous, upholstered in silk the color of aged wine, embroidered with a quiet pattern you can only half see in this low, honeyed light. You lean back. The pillows receive you the way old friends do, without effort, without question. Outside the window, Venice is dissolving into rain. The lights of the city smear gently across the wet glass, gold and rose and pale silver, each one trembling slightly as the train begins its slow departure. You watch a gondola light drift past, small and solitary on the dark water of the lagoon, and then it too is gone, swallowed by mist and distance. There is no hurry in this leaving. The train does not lurch or rush. It simply begins, with a long, low breath beneath the floor, to carry you away. You notice, now, the scent of the cabin around you. Amber, warm and resinous, rising faintly from somewhere unseen. Beneath it, the rich, dark smell of leather, old leather, the kind that has been polished by 1,000 careful hands over 100 years. And beneath that, so faint it is almost a memory rather than a scent at all, the smell of rain itself, carried in on the coats of passengers who boarded only minutes ago, now settling, now fading, now becoming simply part of the air you breathe. This is the smell of somewhere else. Somewhere far from your ordinary life. You are allowed, tonight, to simply exist inside it. Above you, a small brass lamp casts its circle of light onto the polished wood of the table beside your seat. Its shade is frosted glass, etched with a pattern of soft geometric petals, Lalique glass, cool and smooth, the kind of beauty that does not announce itself but simply waits to be noticed. You reach out, if you like, and let your fingers rest against it. It is faintly warm from the bulb inside. Faintly warm, like everything in this cabin tonight. The curtains at your window are heavy silk, the color of the deepest part of the night sky. They sway, almost imperceptibly, with the gentle motion of the train. If you listen closely, you can hear the soft whisper of fabric against fabric, a sound so quiet it seems designed only for you. You are entirely alone in this cabin, and yet you do not feel lonely. There is a particular kind of solitude that feels like luxury, the solitude of being tucked away, private, unreachable, cared for by the very structure of the space around you. No one will disturb you here. No one needs anything from you. The world has narrowed, gently, to this, dark wood, soft light, falling rain, and the slow rhythm of wheels finding their pace beneath the floor. Beneath your feet, you can feel it now, a low, steady hum. Not loud, not intrusive. Simply the great mechanical purr of the undercarriage, a sound as old as the train itself, as constant and soothing as a heartbeat. It moves through the floor, up through the legs of your seat, into your own body, until you are not sure anymore where the train's rhythm ends and your own slow impulse begins. Outside, the rain continues. It streaks sideways now, caught by the growing motion of the train, tracing long silver lines across the black glass. Beyond it, you can just make out the shape of the lagoon, vast, dark, and endless, dotted here and there with the trembling reflection of a distant light. Venice grows smaller. Venice grows quieter. Venice becomes, at last, only a soft golden smudge on the horizon, and then, not even that. You are somewhere else now. Somewhere timeless. Down the corridor, faint and far away, you can hear the gentle clink of crystal, glasses being arranged, perhaps, in the dining car, prepared for passengers who will drift in and out of that warm, lamplit space over the coming hours. But you need not join them. You need not do anything at all. You may simply sit here, wrapped in silk and shadow and amber light, and let the sound drift toward you like something half-remembered. There is a particular privilege in stillness. In this world of velvet curtains and polished brass, stillness is not emptiness, it is abundance. It is the luxury of unclaimed time. It is the freedom to watch rain fall and mean nothing by it. It is the freedom to simply be carried, without effort, through the dark. You settle deeper into your seat. The silk pillow beneath your head still smells faintly of lavender and starch, the particular scent of linens cared for by patient, unseen hands. Your body grows heavier. Your breathing grows slower. Somewhere outside, the Venetian rain continues to fall over a lagoon you can no longer see, and somewhere beneath you, the great train continues its unhurried journey into the night. You are warm. You are safe. You are, for tonight, exactly where you are meant to be. Let your mind wander now, gently, into the stories this train has carried for 100 years. For this railway, and this very route across the water and into the heart of old Europe, has always been more than a means of travel. It has been a vessel for secrets, a moving sanctuary for the powerful, the hidden, and the heartbroken. Long before you settled into this cabin tonight, others sat exactly where you sit, watching this same lagoon fade into darkness. Venice herself has always kept two faces. By day, she is postcards and sunlight, gondolas gliding past palaces of rose-colored stone. But by night, she has always belonged to someone else entirely. Imagine, if you will, the Doge's palace centuries ago, its stone corridors lit by hundreds of candles, its grand hall filled with masked figures who might have been senators, or thieves, or simply lovers seeking one another beneath the anonymity of porcelain and feather. The masquerade was never simply a party in this city. It was a kind of permission to become someone else for a single night, to shed the weight of your ordinary name and wear, instead, the quiet freedom of a stranger's face. Some say that tradition never truly ended. It simply moved. It stepped from the marble halls of the old palaces onto the velvet seats of trains like this one, where a closed cabin door has always offered its own kind of mask. Behind these very curtains, across 100 years of departures, travelers have shed their public selves the moment the train pulled away from the platform. Diplomats became simply men in the dark. Countesses became simply women watching rain. For the length of a journey, no one needed to be anyone at all. They say a king once traveled this line incognito, seated in a cabin much like yours, dressed not in the regalia of his office but in the plain, unremarkable coat of an ordinary gentleman. He wanted, for one night, only to watch the water pass without the weight of a crown pressing on his thoughts. The staff, of course, knew exactly who he was. They said nothing. Discretion, on this train, was never simply good manners, it was devotion. A kind of quiet, unspoken loyalty between the traveler and the ones who cared for him. And then there were the others. The poets, drawn here by the particular romance of motion, the way a moving train seems to loosen thoughts that stay stubbornly fixed when a person sits still. It is said that entire verses were composed in cabins no larger than this one, written in the low light of a brass lamp, timed to the same steady rhythm you feel beneath your own feet tonight. There is something about this hum, this endless gentle rocking, that seems to coax loose the words a person did not know they were carrying. The spies came too, of course. How could they not? A train crossing borders in the dark, filled with diplomats and nobility and secrets folded neatly into coat pockets, it was, for decades, one of the most valuable rooms in Europe, simply because it moved. Messages passed hand to hand in dining cars lit by candlelight. Glances held a beat too long across polished silver. Somewhere between Venice and Paris, alliances were quietly built, and just as quietly, broken. You need not worry over any of this tonight. Whatever secrets once moved through these corridors have long since settled into legend, soft and harmless now, like dust in an old velvet curtain. Tonight, this train carries only you, and the rain, and the low hum of the tracks below. But perhaps, if you close your eyes, you can still feel the echo of it. The particular hush that falls over a cabin like this one. The sense that these walls have absorbed 100 years of whispered conversations, and softened them, over time, into something like silence. Venice herself understood this kind of layered secrecy long before the first train ever left her station. Her palaces were built with hidden passageways, her canals designed as much for private escape as for public parade. Even her famous glass, the very glass etched into the lamp beside you now, carried its own quiet history of guarded craft, techniques passed down in secrecy from master to apprentice on the island of Murano, protected as fiercely as any royal secret. So you see, this cabin you rest in tonight was never simply wood and silk and brass. It is a small, moving room built from a much larger tradition, a tradition of discretion, of elegant escape, of nights when a person could become, for a few precious hours, entirely unknown to the world. You, too, are unknown tonight. No one on this train knows your worries, your ordinary life, the weight you carried onto these tracks with you. Here, in this cabin, none of that matters. You are simply a traveler, wrapped in warmth, watching old Europe drift by in the rain, exactly as travelers have done for 100 years before you. Let the history settle over you like another blanket. Let the kings and the poets and the quiet spies fade back into legend, leaving behind only their warmth, only the sense that you are part of something old and gentle and enduring. The train carries its stories lightly now. It carries you just as gently. Outside, Venice is long gone. Ahead, the dark European countryside waits, soft with rain, waiting to carry you further still into the night. Somewhere down the long corridor beyond your cabin door, a single figure moves through the train with quiet, practiced grace. The cabin steward. He has walked these narrow, carpeted hallways more times than he could ever count, and yet tonight, as every night, he moves as though it is the first time, careful, attentive, unhurried. His uniform is pressed to a sharp, elegant line, dark navy trimmed in gold, and his shoes make almost no sound at all against the deep burgundy carpet beneath his feet. You need not see him to feel his presence somewhere near. There is a comfort in knowing he is there, a quiet guardian moving through the sleeping train, tending to small, careful details that most passengers will never even notice, and yet would surely miss if they were gone. He carries a silver tray, polished to such a shine that it holds, faintly, the warm reflection of every lamp he passes. Upon it, a single item wrapped in soft linen, perhaps a nightcap of warm brandy, perhaps a small confection dusted in sugar, left as a quiet gift outside a cabin door for a passenger who has already drifted off to sleep. He does not knock. He does not disturb. He simply sets the tray down with the gentlest possible motion, and moves on. The corridor is lit by small brass sconces, spaced evenly along the mahogany walls, each one glowing with the same soft amber light as the lamp beside your own seat. Between them, shadows pool gently, and the steward moves through light and shadow alike with the same unhurried calm, as though the passage of time itself has slowed to match the rhythm of the train. At the far end of the carriage, an old clock stands mounted against the wall, its brass casing dulled slightly with age, its hands sweeping with a slow, deliberate certainty. The steward pauses before it now. From his pocket, he draws a small, worn key, and with careful, familiar movements, he winds it, 3 gentle turns, no more. This is a ritual he has performed 1,000 times before. The clock does not simply tell the hour. It keeps something older than that. It keeps the train's own private sense of time, unhurried by the world outside, answerable only to itself. There is something deeply comforting in this small, unseen ritual. Somewhere close by, someone is caring for the smallest details of your comfort while you rest. Someone is tending the clocks, delivering the trays, smoothing the small wrinkles of the night so that you never have to notice them at all. This is the particular magic of old-world luxury, not grandeur, but attention. Not spectacle, but care, offered quietly, without need for acknowledgement. The steward continues down the corridor, pausing now and then to adjust a curtain that has drifted slightly open, to smooth a runner of carpet that has curled at its edge, to check, with a brief glance, that every brass fitting still gleams as it should. He knows this train the way a sailor knows an old, beloved ship, every creak, every particular sway, every corner where the lamplight falls just a little differently. Beyond the windows he passes, the countryside slides by in darkness, broken only by the occasional distant light of a farmhouse, or a small village church, its steeple just visible against the rain-heavy sky. He does not look out often. He has seen this journey 1,000 times, in every season, in every weather. Tonight's rain is simply another old friend, tapping gently against the glass as he passes. There is a solitude to his work that mirrors, in its own way, the solitude of your own cabin. He moves alone through this dim, beautiful train, the only person awake in a carriage full of quiet, sleeping strangers, and yet he does not seem lonely. He seems, instead, entirely at peace, a keeper of small rituals, a quiet custodian of comfort, moving through the night with the calm certainty of someone who knows exactly what his purpose is, and finds a deep satisfaction in fulfilling it well. Perhaps, if you listen closely enough, you can hear him now, the faint, distant sound of his footsteps on carpet, the softest clink of a tray being set down 2 cabins away, the almost inaudible click of a clock's key turning somewhere down the corridor. These are not sounds meant to wake you. They are sounds meant to reassure you, the way a parent's quiet movements in another room might reassure a sleepy child that all is well, that someone is watching over the house. You are being watched over tonight, in this same quiet way. Not intrusively. Not urgently. Simply, steadily, the way this train has watched over its passengers for 100 years, with polished trays, and wound clocks, and soft footsteps moving carefully through amber-lit corridors, tending to the small, unseen details that make a night feel truly safe. The steward reaches the end of the corridor now, and pauses one final time. He glances back down the long, dim hallway, each cabin door closed, each passenger settled, each small ritual of the night complete. Satisfied, he turns away, and disappears quietly into the shadows of the next carriage, ready to begin the same careful rounds all over again. Behind him, the corridor falls still. The clock ticks on, steady and slow. The lamps continue their soft amber glow. And somewhere close by, in your own warm cabin, you rest easy, knowing that even in the depths of this quiet night, someone is tending carefully to the rhythm of the train, so that you never have to. There comes a gentle knock at your cabin door, soft, almost apologetic, the kind of knock that asks permission rather than demands attention. It is the steward, returned once more, this time to prepare your cabin for the deepest part of the night. You need do nothing at all. You may simply watch, heavy-lidded and warm, as he moves through the small space with practiced, gentle efficiency, transforming the cabin around you into something even softer than before. The seat where you have rested folds away beneath his careful hands, and in its place unfolds a bed, narrow, but deep, and dressed in linen so crisp and cool they seem to hold within them the memory of clean winter air. He smooths the sheet with a single practiced motion, tucking its edges with the precision of someone who has done this exact task 10,000 times before, and yet still performs it as though it matters. Because, of course, it does. Over the sheet, he lays a down comforter, thick and soft, its weight settling gently over the mattress like snow settling over a quiet field. It is the kind of comforter that seems to hold warmth inside it even before you have climbed beneath it, as though it has been waiting all evening simply to gather you in. The pillows, too, are arranged with quiet care, plumped and settled against the polished mahogany headboard, still faintly scented with lavender and starch. Beside the bed, the small brass lamp is dimmed, just slightly, its warm light softening into something even gentler than before, the particular amber glow of a room that knows sleep is coming soon. You rise, if you like, and cross the small distance from your seat to the bed. The floor beneath your feet still carries that same low, steady hum, that same unhurried rhythm that has carried you all this way. And now, at last, you may lie down within it. The sheets are cool against you at first, that particular, pleasant coolness of fine linen, but within moments, your own warmth begins to spread beneath the heavy comforter, until the whole bed feels like a small, private world of perfect temperature. Outside, beyond the brass-trimmed window, the rain has settled into something new. No longer scattered, no longer restless. It falls now in a steady, rhythmic pattern, tapping softly against the glass in a cadence as constant and soothing as the train itself. You pull the comforter a little higher. Somewhere far outside, the dark European countryside continues to slip past, hills and rivers and small sleeping towns, none of them visible now, none of them mattering. All that matters is here, this small, warm room, moving gently through the night, carrying you toward wherever morning waits. The steward, before he leaves, pauses at the door and dims the lamp one final degree, until the cabin is bathed in only the faintest amber glow, just enough to soften the shadows, not enough to keep sleep away. He closes the door behind him without a sound, and you are alone again, wrapped now not in silk cushions but in down and linen, cocooned entirely from the cold, rain-soaked world beyond the glass. You are perfectly warm inside, perfectly safe. The rain continues its steady rhythm against the window, each drop landing with the same soft, patient certainty as the one before it, a sound with no beginning you can remember and no end you need to anticipate. Beneath you, the train's low hum continues too, that same aristocratic murmur that has rocked 100 years of tired travelers into exactly this same, deep peace. Think, if your mind wanders at all tonight, of everyone who has lain in a bed like this one before you. The kings who shed their crowns for a few private hours. The poets who found their softest words in the sway of this exact motion. The countless ordinary travelers, unremarkable and unremembered, who nonetheless found here, in this narrow warm room, one of the most peaceful nights of their lives. You belong to that same quiet lineage now. Tonight, you too are simply a traveler, wrapped in old-world comfort, carried gently through the dark by a train that has never once, in 100 years, hurried toward anything at all. The rain outside grows softer, or perhaps it is only your hearing that grows softer, sinking gradually beneath the surface of sleep. The amber light dims further in your slowing awareness. The hum beneath you smooths into something almost like silence, almost like stillness, though it never quite stops, just as the rain never quite stops, just as this train never quite stops, moving steadily onward through the soft, endless dark. You are safe here. You are warm here. Nothing is required of you now but rest. And so the night carries on without you now, gentle and unwitnessed, as sleep finally, fully, claims you. The rain continues its soft, steady rhythm against the brass-trimmed glass. The train continues its slow, unhurried passage through the sleeping countryside of old Europe. Somewhere down the corridor, a clock ticks on, faithfully wound, keeping its quiet watch through the darkest hours. None of it requires your attention anymore. None of it ever did. You are wrapped in down and linen, cocooned entirely from the cold and the rain and the whole vast, rushing world beyond this small warm room. Somewhere far above you, the same amber lamp glows softer still, dimming toward darkness, dimming toward dream. Let the last of your thoughts grow soft and slow, like snowfall settling over quiet ground. Let the hum beneath you become the only sound that matters, steady, low, endless, older than memory, gentler than any lullaby ever sung. You have traveled far tonight, but you never once had to move. Through Venice and her rain-slicked lights. Through palaces of masked secrets and kings without their crowns. Through the quiet devotion of a steward tending clocks in the dark. And now, at last, into this, the deepest, softest part of the journey, where nothing more is asked of you than to simply rest. Sleep now, fully, completely. The rain will keep its rhythm through the night. The train will keep its patient course. And you, safe and warm within this small moving sanctuary, need do nothing more at all. Good night, traveler. Sleep deeply. You are home.